Welcome back, everyone, to Pass It On. Pass It On is Winnow's platform for chefs and hospitality leaders around the world to share real stories, insights, and actions they're taking to tackle food waste. Today, our guest is Chef Clinton Weber, who is joining me all the way from Bali, Indonesia. He's a chef who's had really incredible results in reducing food waste, with 62% reduction in 8 months. He's really pushing the boundaries of what can be done with waste and is currently working as executive chef at Hilton Bali Resort. So yes, really excited to have you here, Chef Clinton.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm going to dive straight into the questions. So
Sure.
can you take me along your culinary journey and what inspired you to become a chef?
Yeah, right. Well, the first inspiration was from my grandmother. So obviously, like most chefs, is all from family background. So it's not exactly what I wanted to be, but it got me. My grandmother got me encouraged, and yeah. So I didn't get into my medical, so I followed the culinary journey,
Oh,
so to
really?
speak. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you originally wanted to do medicine?
yeah, yeah. So, long story short, I didn't get into the universities that I selected,
Yeah.
and when I went off to do culinary, I ended up getting into New Zealand's number one chef's university, and at the same time, I actually got into New Zealand's number one medical university. So I ended up taking the path of becoming a chef, and then I thought I'll go back to medical, but it never actually eventuated that way. So.
Oh, really? That's so interesting. So you had the two options, but is it like your
Yeah,
heart wanted to kind of follow into the food?
yeah, it was sort of just to follow my grandmother's footsteps and stuff like that. And it's been, I ended up doing 3 years at university, and then pretty much as soon as I graduated, I did 1 year in New Zealand, and then I've been traveling the world ever since.
Amazing. Um, and how often do you go back to New Zealand? Is that?
Yeah, that's the funny part. I always want to go back home every year, but the thing
Yeah.
is, my family, they always come and visit. It's it's a bit of a,
Yeah.
a catch 22.
True.
Wherever I am, they come and follow and enjoy the surroundings.
Well, Bali's not a bad place to be, so
No, there's
sure,
there's worse places.
definitely.
Yeah.
Um, it looks beautiful where you are. Thank you. And then the next question is, if you could have one final meal, what would it be?
One final meal would be actually, it's one of my grandmother's favorites. So we're talking really comfort food here. Just means so much, and it would be shepherd's pie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that like a classic thing in New Zealand?
Yeah, it is. It is, and it just reminded of us around the family table on a winter's Sunday afternoon or dinner.
Yeah.
So it just brings back memories, and even for my own kids, I cook a lot of the old New Zealand classic comfort foods. It's a lot different to
Yeah.
what you get when you're in the resorts and kitchens. So it's nice to resort back to the comfort food.
True. Sometimes that's all you need. And what is your grandmother's secret to the best shepherd's pie?
Was making sure that the lamb mince was really, really good quality and not so
Mm.
fatty. Yeah,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah,
Nice. I always get confused. So shepherd's pie is with the lamb, and
correct.
then cottage pie is with the beef,
Beef.
right? Actually, one of my favorites as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I really love it. We always
Yeah.
put like yeah, my grandmother makes it as well. All that kind of stuff, like with the
Yeah.
gravy and
Oh,
meat and mashed
absolutely.
potatoes, like classic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't go wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Perfect. And then this question's about food waste.
Yeah.
Was there a particular moment that made you rethink how food waste is managed?
Yeah, well, I get asked this question a lot for a lot of magazines and stuff like that. And, for me, where I come from in New Zealand, being New Zealand, and I do pride ourselves as being one of the most sustainable countries in the world. So, food waste to me is it's been going on for a long, long time, and obviously
Yeah.
it's the limelight now, right? So, and things that I do now is things that we used to do when we were kids, and around
Yeah.
around home. So, it isn't really nothing new to me. It's just that when you're in the resort situation, taken it to the next level, right?
Hmm.
And one thing that we got caught out, is that we thought that the world was ready to be able to put food waste and sustainability and all these programs onto menus. But people kind of got a bit turned off thinking that, especially when you're in a five-star environment and people are like, hang on, you're serving me leftovers or
Right.
yeah, so it's
Really?
it's it's not about the food waste. What we found the trouble was is how to reword it so that there was a good talking point, but it didn't freak customers out.
Mm.
People are paying a good money and they expect good food, and when you tell them what you're doing, they're like, "Oh, really? You're charging me
Yeah.
this?" But so food waste wasn't the thing. It was actually the biggest challenges in this right now, this area was how to word it and have that story coming through,
Mm.
right? Not only that, it's, a lot of people, a lot of kitchens, they think they're doing a lot of sustainable stuff in the kitchens and, yeah, we're reducing food waste, but they're actually putting their cost up in other areas because they're using the food waste. So it looks good in the rubbish bin, but it's actually not looking good on the P&L, so to speak.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Um, so it's actually trying to balance and have both working together.
Hmm.
So there's a project that I just started with the kitchen team, and one of the biggest things that is right now is that we've sort of been looking at is single use bread, like bread off buffets
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Um, and bread throughout the restaurants and stuff like that. We making sure that it's fresh, 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 and then we wanted to create things that everybody knows when you go into a breakfast buffet. There's bread and butter pudding, and everybody knows it's from the pastries and stuff from next door,
Yeah.
from the day before, right? So we wanted to come up
That's
with
great.
we wanted to come up with really, really cool ways to do things that could eliminate. So we came up with one where we're making our own sourdough and olive oil ice cream.
Ooh.
So it's leftover sourdough breads and the rustic kind of breads, and then we're converting
Yeah.
it into ice cream, which we eliminate purchasing some of the other ice cream. So it kind of balances its way out. So we're not actually adding something to the cost bar simply so we could say that, oh look, we've beaten the food waste program, but we've added cost somewhere else, right? So
Mm.
we've reduced bread and we've reduced an area of purchasing, right? So
Yeah.
and that's where we're looking at it. Where I've been looking at it for a long time.
That's super. I've been trying to think of a bread ice cream recipe, so I'd love to hear yours. What is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
process? Do you, like infuse the milk with the bread, or do you
Pretty
what is the
much,
process
pretty
of
much. I
that?
don't want to give out too many secrets, but pretty much.
Oh no.
Yeah. And another one that we've just started doing is with leftover pastries and stuff like that is rehydrating and then dehydrating, mixing different spices and stuff like that, and then baking it into paper, and then we put it back onto the breakfast buffet as wafers and stuff like that, and we also give it as
Oh,
bar snacks. So these are the things that we kind of want to do. So that eliminates the purchasing of your standard peanuts and
yeah.
different things. So for me, everybody's so focused on food waste, but is it really food waste? Like, are
Hmm.
you actually reducing the cost? Are you really being that sustainable, right? So
Yeah.
for me, um, you know, you can reduce what you put into the rubbish bin, but are you actually purchasing more on something else and
Yeah, to
driving
compensate.
the
Mm.
CO2 carbon footprint and all that sort of stuff? So, it's a catch 22, right? So it's trying to
Yeah, you
eliminate
have to
that
think
catch.
about both.
Yeah. So, I see a lot of great things that are happening on the internet and chefs and stuff like that. But then you start deep diving. It's like, well, yeah, it's great. You've eliminated the product going into the rubbish bin. That's great, box ticked.
Yeah.
But your other part of the sustainable equation, like your carbon footprint, purchasing more, doing this more, it's actually not matching, right?
Mhm.
So
No, that's really
yeah, so
interesting actually.
yeah,
Yeah, just because you think you're throwing away less, you have to think about the whole picture. And
exactly.
you're right, looking at the purchasing costs, like if you're not buying something to replace it, like that's a step forward as well.
Right, and part of sustainability, food waste is part of that sustainable equation, right? So, you
Mm.
know, there's other factors like I said, the carbon footprint, the emissions, and all that sort of stuff. So if you take that equation, um, are you throwing less but making the farmers work more? And
Yeah,
just things like that, right? So more water, more this, more, and it's just a
definitely.
never ending subject,
Yeah.
right?
And yeah, I was interested. So you talked about the wording on the menus. What did you kind of find works best then for your customers? Like how have you kind of worded it in a way that's the most enticing to them?
I think it's just romanticizing it a bit,
Yeah.
and not being so blunt, if I could
Yeah.
put it that way. We've got a few cool things on the breakfast buffet that we sort of, banana peel jam and all this sort of stuff, and papayas. And there's a really good one that takes off, and it's, roasted papaya skin granola. So we
Oh,
take all the skins from the granola, and we make our own granola from peels, right?
yeah.
But it's just romanticizing it, not
Hmm.
so blunt, if I could be
Hmm.
so, especially when you're in our kind of environment, and the clientele that we have, you just don't want to look like that you've put in the rubbish back on the buffet from the day before, right?
No, I completely understand. I
Yeah,
think one of my favorite, you have hundreds of recipes. Every time I speak to you, you come up with more.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
We've got to, we've
but
got to,
I think my favorite one is the fruit leather rolls. Are you still
yeah.
making
So
those? Is that still a big
yeah,
part of
yeah, yeah,
your
yeah. And those things we used to eat these when we were kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's gone platinum, and it's like, man, we used to do this when we were kids, so that's what I mean. So you're taking some ideas that we used to have when we were kids, and we're doing them now.
Mm,
um, but these are really, really good, because it's natural sugar.
yeah.
There's no additives, there's no nothing, and it actually eliminates things on the breakfast buffet. So we add these. It's a really cool attachment. It's very, to some particular parts of the world, it's very sentimental. Um,
Hmm. Definitely.
some of our Australian clientele, it's quite sentimental because, it's what we used to do, right? So people relate, and it's quite
Yeah.
good because, things there's some, and not only that, there's some really, really good tips with fruit, and
Hmm.
a lot of our fresh fruit, from, like, for example, today it gets dehydrated tonight, and it's all dried fruit back in granolas and back on the
Yeah.
cereal bar tomorrow, right? So it's
Hmm.
natural fruit. There's no added sugars. So not only can we play, and it goes back to that wording, that we can romanticize that it's in house, it's artisan fruit,
Definitely.
instead of
I
in
think
house
I
in house
I
leftovers.
definitely romanticizing. I think
Yeah,
kitchens in general is there's a lot of romanticizing
correct. You have
around
to,
it.
absolutely,
Um,
and you're on a very delicate conversation. Like when we sort of coming out of COVID, we had a lot of time to experiment. And it's just not about fruits, right? One of our restaurants now, I dehydrate scales, and then we fry them, and then we mix them with
yeah.
different kind of spiced salts,
Hmm.
and we blend these with some of our cocktails, right? So it's just not about fruit and vegetables. It's all through the thing. So as a bar snack, you're eating leftover fish scales, and people are absolutely blown away by it, right?
Yeah,
That you get into this kind of stuff, right?
definitely.
Yeah,
Amazing. I feel like you've actioned all like the top wasted things are bread, fruit trimmings, veg trimmings, and you're doing everything to
yeah.
kind of
So
action, which
I've
is
just
amazing
I've
to hear.
I must admit, for about last month, I've just been like researching, like, what is the chemical compound of eggshells, right? What does it actually do to
Yeah.
plants and stuff like that? Um, so I really want to. come up with one of our biggest things in for breakfast is obviously eggshells, right? So how can we make up a plant calcium compound sort of thing that we can actually give it back to the farmers?
Yeah.
And how does this work with some of our organic farmers and stuff like that? That we can actually help them produce some of the byproducts and to use back on their farm, so it keeps the food chain rolling, right? So we got one of our fruit and vegetable suppliers that's willing to trial and error.
Yeah.
So
That's good. You
yeah,
need someone to kind of work with to experiment with these things.
yeah.
Which is good.
I've got a few vendors around that allow me to experiment.
Amazing. I have heard of people using like the eggshells for compost. I think you have to like bake them first.
Correct. So you've got to
And
dehydrate
then,
them,
yeah.
clean them. So you've got to clean them and make sure uh, all the bits and pieces are clean out of the membrane and stuff like that, and then it's just drying and grinding them
Yeah.
up, right? But we've found that if we can like dehydrate some of particular kinds of food waste, if we separate some of the food waste and mix it in with the eggshells, once it's all dried out, would that enhance? Will it do this? Can it work on all vegetables? Is it only a selected few? So we're going down this path at the moment. So yeah,
You're definitely taking it to the extreme, like looking at the eggshells. I feel
yeah.
like a
Well,
lot of people kind of look over that, but it's great to see that you're like
yeah,
really
yeah,
thinking.
and it's and people be asking, well, it's wastage, right? But we're actually
Yeah.
trying to work with the farmers to eliminate. This goes back to that whole circle of sustainability, right? And that if we can give them back, so they're not paying for stuff for their gardens and stuff like that, can it work out in our favour that we would get discount on our fruit and vegetables? So, we're helping them, they help us. It's just that sort of thing. So people will be wondering why you're doing eggshells, right? But we're actually helping the farmers eliminate their cost. So
Yeah,
it comes back to us in the long run, right? So
definitely makes
yeah.
sense. Thanks for all those insights. And then moving on to the next section, it's ingredients of success. What would you say your ingredients for success are?
As in which way?
In your work life? Like how have you been so successful, get to executive chef, come up with
Oh,
all these creative recipes? Like what have you done to achieve to get
something that I
here?
always tell my staff is that only you and you alone will eliminate always push yourself, your boundaries and stuff like that. And we are artists, right? Kitchen chefs,
Yeah.
so we're artists, and when you do travel, you see so many things that inspire you and stuff like that. And even people, when you get to the executive chef level, is not to be so complacent. Always keep looking for something new. Keep looking for
Yeah.
something that's challenging. You're one step in front. And it's something that I always address with the team, and something that's in with myself as well. So I wake up tomorrow making sure that the kitchen is better than it was yesterday in whatever way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that you say it's always down to you. Like no one can tell you to do anything.
No,
At the end of
no,
the
no.
day,
Yeah,
it's gonna be you doing it.
yeah. That's that famous saying, right? Think outside the box. And it's the biggest. It's the best saying, right? And something that my dad used to always tell me is that you either can be a follower or you can be a leader, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that's always stuck on me. So, I don't like being mundane. I don't like doing the same stuff over and over. I will keep going and push boundaries and try new things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a lot of failures as well. But there's technology out there now that really helps sustainability and food waste, right? Like you've got
Yeah.
Winnow, and we just had an individual come from another Hilton property that's been with us for 2 weeks. We were showing him how to use a dehydrator. Simple machine.
Oh, they've never
So
used one?
no, but it's so effective now, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta purchase a few little toys as well along the way to help that kitchen produce pretty cool sustainability.
definitely. I think you are basically thinking outside the box in person. Like
Us.
if that phrase was a person, that's you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ev-
Has to be.
Every recipe you've shared has always been something I've kind of never really heard before. Also, I remember you mentioning like edible menus. Was that something else that you?
Yeah. So we've done that a couple of times where we've used potato peelings,
Yeah.
and then we've created like edible menus. So we actually then we
Yeah.
use we make our own charcoal to create the ink, so to
Hmm.
speak. So edible ink. And then we write on the menus, and then the customers read it, and then it's just like James Bond, right? You've read the menu, now you're free to eat it. Um, you know,
Amazing.
and one of the things that the staff they love to do, and that's make paper from food.
Hmm.
And that we taught ourselves years ago, how to do this.
Yeah.
And you can do it with anything.
Really? What do you actually make it with? I know I'm half Filipino and there are some like sweets that we make and we wrap it in like a flour paper, but I always find it doesn't taste very good.
No, and that's
So I don't know if your version tastes better
yeah. So
or
one of
like what you
my
kind of
chefs about a year ago made runbang paper. So they used the potatoes, and then they used all the runbang spices and mixed it all through the paste before we dehydrated, and it came
wow.
out. It was like eating like a cracker that tasted like runbang. It was just
Mm,
it was wild. So yeah. So sitting
yeah.
down with the team, and unfortunately, some of the guys now in the kitchen, they do think like me, and they do take it to another level, and it's really cool to see.
Definitely.
And when they tell the customers and stuff like that what they've done and stuff like that, they're so happy, right? They've eliminated something, they've done something, they've created a story, and people are blown away by it. Oh my God, you ate edible paper? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think the best thing that we did, we worked with one of the vendors, and we made edible candles. Now
Wow.
yeah, we did this for an event.
Honestly, you don't stop with
No,
ideas.
no,
Like,
no. And so it was in a candle. You could light it. It gives it off the aroma, but then you just pour it over your toast and all that sort of
oh my
stuff. So it was
God.
amazing.
What was
Really,
it
really
made
cool.
of? What is that?
Honeycomb and what is it? Coconut.
Oh
But I
my
won't
God,
give you that. I won't go
incredible.
into
Must
too much
smell.
details. But yeah,
I'm trying to get into your
oh, and
secret
yeah, yeah,
recipes.
yeah. You
I have to do a stage there and learn learn all your
yeah,
secrets.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you get a lot of stagiaires or like I would imagine because you have so many like interesting things going on, people would love to
Yeah,
work
they
and
Hilton's really good. They yeah, when we do some pretty crazy things, our Marcom and stuff like
yeah,
that, they definitely will put the story out there.
yeah.
You know, or we have to help at the Hiltons, but it's really good because you work in that great company environment where where we Hilton in another area or another part of the world, they'll reach out, and you're happy to share, right?
Hmm.
It only makes us also much more successful, right? So
Hmm.
yeah,
Definitely. It's a global community.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. And I was going to ask as well, how would you say Winnow kind of helped you in any way with this creativity, or was there anything
I,
that Winnow helped
I didn't
inspire you with?
look. It Now has been a very interesting tool, right? Like it's I guess it hasn't told me or helped me with the recipes.
Yeah.
It's so we were doing all this before we had Winnow, right? So, but what Winnow has done, it's manipulated what we do. So, for example, if we're doing breakfast, we're not going to put out too high yielded fruits like pineapple
Hmm.
and watermelon on the same day, because the wastage
Yeah.
is quite high, right? Um, so it helps us in that way. It definitely helps us in plate waste,
Hmm.
which is a good one. And especially where Alvin now is, it's in all day dining, so it's breakfast and dinner. So yeah, it helps us in where to sort of look at. Are we
Hmm.
overproducing? You know, what we think customers are, you know, indulging, but they're not,
Yeah.
so to speak. It's definitely helped with bread, even though that we have a third party uh, that we send our stuff to after the breakfast buffet. But it's just helped us in that area.
Definitely. Glad to hear that it's helping. I know what you
Yeah,
mean. It's not here to give recipes. It's kind of here to just show you the light on what you're wasting. And like you said, you might not even notice what's
correct. Oh, but the
happening.
eggshells off. The Win now has definitely done a lot of help with the eggshells.
Yeah.
You know, because it's always up there.
Yeah.
And used oil, so
Hmm.
you know, things like that. So you know, we were looking at what we could do with used oil. You know, and it's just a bit that was a bit too tricky because it's, you know, you
Hmm.
look at it refining and all that sort of
Hmm.
stuff. So you need special
Definitely.
machines. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard anyone crack that one yet, actually.
No, no,
Maybe you'll
no.
be the first.
Well, when I was in another country, we used to have our own biofuel machine at the back. So we used to use all the deep fryer oils and stuff like that for this machine. And it used to bring up
Yeah.
our own, and then it used to go for the generator. So it used to keep our fuel costs down. So they used to use the oil. That was out of my league. It was more the engineers that were doing that part, but it was getting used.
No, very interesting.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I feel like we went on a bit of a tangent there.
Yeah, yeah.
But the next question, kind of similar, was what's the best piece of advice you've ever received and who shared it with you?
My dad, be a leader, never be a follower.
Yes, you've said that
Simple.
already, and I thought you'd bring it
Yeah.
up again.
Yeah, absolutely simple, right? You use that for throughout your life. I even use it on my kids, right?
Yeah.
You know, it sums up everything in life. You know,
Hmm. How do you
yeah.
think you took that step up, or like, what? How do you become that leader?
Pushing yourself, right? And like I was saying
Mm,
before, like it's just, you know, learn to listen is definitely a good
yeah.
one. You know, listening is always a good form of, you know, it's a great tool. Um,
Yeah.
you know, listening, observing, um, you know, and really sort of, I guess, backing yourself with your own ideas and yourself and having faith in yourself, right?
Hmm.
Is always the key. You know, believe in yourself. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. If you
yeah,
don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you?
yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. And then, what challenges have you faced in your journey and how did you overcome them?
Through my career,
Yes, through your career. Or
I
any, I
think,
guess you can do any challenges if you
yeah.
want to seek out
So,
other things.
many things, but I think one of the biggest ones is, I think for all of us was COVID.
Yeah.
You know, the unknown. You know, especially in the
Hmm.
hospitality industry, right? Like,
Definitely.
you know, we were all witnessing history, right? At that time,
Hmm.
so we don't know if we're going to what's going to happen to jobs, livelihoods, family,
Yeah.
stuck around the world, and I think that was a very challenging part of everybody's
Yeah.
period, especially all of us. You know, after that year and a half of it, then you know, like at work, I said to the staff, right, let's. It was a, we actually I actually made the staff turn it into a positive thing. You
Mm.
know, in kitchens in this industry, or in everybody's industry, right? We couldn't stop and reflect. You know, we're always so
Yeah.
busy, busy, go, go, go. So we were looking at ourselves as a kitchen, and what are we going to do when we come out of this? What can we do that's different?
Mm.
You know, and one of the biggest things that I saw and I loved that what hotels have done was room service menus. Right, used to be,
Yeah.
you know, to do a room service menu used to take weeks and weeks, a lot of printing, a lot of. Now everything's digital, so you can chop and change
Really.
your room service menu
Yeah.
faster than you can do your outlets.
Really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's
Mm.
everything's is digital now. So, but for us in the kitchen, it was, you know, it was we had the chance to stop, reflect, learn new things. What are we going to do when we come out? Who are we going to be as a kitchen team when we come out of this, and stuff like that. So, even during that time, you as an executive chef, you're still a mentor, right? You're still trying
Yeah,
to uplift everybody, in a way.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure it was tough. And were
Yeah,
you
yeah.
in Bali during that time, or were you somewhere else?
No, I was here in Bali.
In Bali. How long have you
Yeah.
been working in Bali? Sorry, I should have asked
Uh,
earlier.
8 years now.
8 years, wow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then did you come straight from New Zealand, or you said you were
No.
traveling the world?
So I came in from Fiji, but I used to work
Yeah.
for Hilton in Fiji as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. So you've been with Hilton for a long time.
Yeah, it's been close to, what would it be, yeah, 13 years now.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard Hilton's like a lovely place to work, really takes care of their staff, and as
absolutely.
you've shown with
Absolutely.
your
That's another podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
another
No,
podcast just on that.
absolutely. I couldn't think of a better company, to be
Yeah,
honest. Yeah.
definitely some of the most like loyal, long-standing chefs I've spoken to are all at Hilton. So
Yeah, yeah, we're all brainwashed. But
yes,
in a good way. In a good way.
definitely.
No, no, it's a great company to work for.
Yeah,
It's as the people that look on the outside, they all think that oh my God, it must be so corporate. Yeah, it has all that, but
yeah,
the freedom and the drive and the
hmm,
passion, the passion that everyone has
yeah,
from top to bottom, right? It's it's
definitely.
it's it's
I
really good.
sense it. Speaking to all the Hilton chefs, like I sense the passion and
Yeah,
determination.
yeah.
Great, thank you. And then I think I feel like we kind of touched on this as well, but what drives you?
What drives me? I guess at work, what drives me is just trying to be different, trying to be ahead,
Yeah,
um,
hmm,
changing things, doing new things, right?
yeah,
Is always something that drives me, and not everything that we do is successful,
hmm,
and if we go back to Hilton, is that you don't get a slap across the wrist, so to speak, if you make a mistake. It's like, okay,
yeah,
well done, but you know, and everybody works together to help you on that path, right? So,
hmm,
obviously my family also drives me, but
yeah.
mainly, just
Wanting to do something new.
yeah, just doing new things,
Yeah.
and the world changing is a lot more faster than it was when I was a young kid in the kitchens. Yeah.
It is true. I feel like every day is something. You look on your phone and there's something different.
It's outrageous.
Too much. Or even every hour, like I
Yeah,
can't keep up.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, even my kids are teaching me about different apps now, and I was like, oh, enough, enough, enough.
My brain hurts.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. I like that doing because I feel like also in kitchens it can be easy to kind of stick in your ways, um, and do like the thing you've always been taught. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
like doing something different is what
Yeah.
drives you to make improvements.
Yeah, you can. It's a very, and I guess that's when that's what I really like about where we are and stuff like that. It's a multi-kitchen, multi-outlet resort, right?
Yeah.
So there's always something going on. There's always something new. Um, so it's you have the chance to do new things, right, and to push the boundaries.
Thank
Yeah.
you for that. And then last few questions here. But what are your proudest achievements in reducing food waste?
Um, I guess now, to be honest, like I was a bit under the shell, but I guess that the like this sort of podcast and magazines
Yeah.
and stuff like that I've been in. Um, I guess the recognition that that for it. So I'm pretty proud of that now. I never used to be.
Mm.
I was always anti magazines and stuff like that. TV and stuff like that. But now I guess it's where I work, my staff,
Mm.
and that like that. It's putting everybody on the map, and
Yeah.
it's just showing that hey, if we can do it, then other people can do it. And to prove to my staff that you can be a leader. And
Hmm.
doesn't matter what position you are, or who you are, or so on and so on. It's that. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Definitely. I think you're like similar to a lot of chefs. They don't really want to be in magazines or like on podcasts and TV, but
No,
then
I never used to be, but I think as I matured
yeah,
up through the kitchen now, and especially doing pretty cool things now, and our customers are like, wow, this is crazy, or this is
yeah,
this, we've taken sustainability to a whole nother level, and it's like, you know what, Hilton Bali needs this recognition, right?
hmm
We've got custom chinaware that are made from sand from the cliffs. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Wow,
it just
it's
on and
amazing.
on and on. Our all-day dining restaurant is it's like a museum.
Really.
With
Yeah, you
some
don't go
really
there to eat, you go to look at the
no, but
artifacts.
when you do take customers around and you tell them the stories on stuff like that
Yeah,
that's on the buffet or something like that, it's quite a story.
I think
Quite a
it's
journey.
important.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I never, previous to all this, I been on, done a few sort of, I guess, books and stuff like that, but I just never really wanted the recognition and stuff like that. But now I just want to make sure that it's out there. I think it's the time and the
yeah,
place now. Yeah.
definitely. It's definitely like inspires others
Yeah,
to
and
kind of
I
follow
never
in
really
your
thought
foot.
about that, but I guess when you have children and stuff like that, and then I've got such a large team, and for me now is like if I inspire the younger generation,
Yeah,
then that means a lot, right? And I get messages and stuff like that of things from past chefs and stuff like that, and
yeah.
I'm always there to help them and stuff like that. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. And then final question here is what books, podcasts, apps, or shows would you recommend for chefs looking to grow and be inspired?
Put it in a nutshell, I do like Pinterest, because it's just one
Yeah.
big summary. It's just one big summary, you know. I'm always inspired by Pinterest because everything's there, right? And you can click on something, and then you go into a magazine, or you go
hmm
into a whatever, that sort of thing. Instagram is pretty good. A
Yeah.
lot of these AI platforms now are pretty good.
hmm
But for me, it's Pinterest. Maybe it's a little bit old school, but for me, I like it because it's just one big summary. And you can't beat the old-fashioned reading a good article about something and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, I'm still a big fan of Gourmet Traveller magazine in Australia and Cuisine,
Yeah.
and especially Cuisine magazine was always, like we would have to. This is before digital, right? So we'd have to, you buy a
hmm
subscription and you're waiting for every month for the magazine to come, and
Yeah. I think
you
there's
know,
something quite like romantic about doing that now.
yeah, I know.
Like I
It's
feel like all the stuff on social media is so on tap, like actually having
yeah.
to buy a magazine, I feel like that's kind of
Oh
I'd
no,
love to do that.
I do. I sometimes maybe it's just a bit of old school or a bit nostalgia, but I quite often buy a food magazine when I'm at the airport if I'm traveling. Just to
Yeah.
say that it's just it's just so you could say that you brought a magazine. Like
Yeah.
I
I
asked
know
someone
what
the
you
other day,
mean.
when was the last time you brought a magazine? Oh my God, it must have been about 5, 6 years ago.
Don't remember.
Or even a newspaper or something. So
Mm,
yeah.
amazing. And any like cookbooks that you like or classical ones that you used to use?
Oh, I still have my Escoffier
Yeah.
cookbook, the French Laundry,
hmm
David Keller and French Laundry, some of the old school ones I
hmm
really like, I was always a big fan of the River Cafe.
Oh
You,
yeah.
the
I've
River
always wanted to
Cafe.
go.
Are
Yeah.
they, I don't even know if they're still
In
around
London.
anymore.
You mean the one in London, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
always wanted to go. It's by the river.
Yeah,
Um and yeah, it's quite simple food,
yeah.
Italian.
Yeah,
Um
and a lot of the top chefs. I think Jamie Oliver, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken,
he
came
was
through there.
there. Jamie
Yeah,
Oliver, Theo Randall was there.
yeah,
So yeah, you just reminded me. I have to look into it
yeah.
again.
I don't know if it's still around. It
Been on
just
my
came to
list
my
for a
head right
while.
now. But I used to, and it was
Yeah,
two ladies, if I remember. Yeah, I got given their cookbook when I was, oh my God, I think I was like 18 or something like that. It was
really.
very, very long time ago. But Yeah, yeah, it was one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you can never get rid of one of those like
Oh,
classic cookbooks.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yes, that wraps up all the questions I had for you.
Oh, okay.
Thanks so much for joining. I don't know if you had any more questions for me or if you
No, well,
enjoyed the experience.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yes, thanks for joining. In touch soon. Yes, thanks,
Come on.
Clinton.
Thank you so much.
Speak soon.
Okay, bye
Bye.
bye.